All right, so our last video for lesson 11.1 has us try to think through choosing a data display based on the situation. What would be the best way to display the data to answer any questions that we're posing about it? So in this example, we have Helena, whose dance team scores 68 points at a competition. Her score, or the scores for all the teams that competed are shown. Part A, Helena wants to know what place her team finished. Should she use a dot plot, histogram, or a box plot to display the data? So just a reminder about the three types of data displays that we're learning about. A dot plot has dots for each value in the data. It shows clusters of data and outliers. So this one will show individual data points. A histogram groups values in a data set into ranges or intervals. Individual values are not displayed, but trends are observable. And a box plot shows the center and the spread of the data set. A box plot does not show individual data, but summarizes the data using 5 key pieces of information. That's that 5-number summary: the minimum, the maximum, the median, and then the quartile 1 and quartile 3 values. So because Helena is interested in displaying individual scores, a dot plot will display the data in a way that is most helpful to Helena. So this is the one that we want to focus on. What place did Helena's team finish in the competition? Well, let's create a dot plot so that we can answer that question. So we've got our dot plot shown. I am going to make my pen a little bit bigger so I can just draw the dot or plot the dots. Okay, so if we look at the data, one team scored 65, 2 scored 66. I know I'm not going in order of the table. I don't have that on my screen anymore, so I just know that this is what we're going to end up with. So we've got one at 68, one at 75. Normally you guys would, in the table, plot something, cross it off so you can kind of keep track. And we had one at 79. There were 2 teams that scored 80, 3 teams that scored 81, 2 teams that scored 82, 1 team that scored 83, then we had an 89 and a 90. So as we look at this, we see kind of a cluster here. We can see clusters with dot plots, bit of a small cluster over here, maybe a couple outliers that appear to be outside of most of the data. But what place did Helena's team finish in the competition? So her team scored in 68. So that is her team score right there. And if we look at that, what place was that? Well, if we kind of count from the top, here's our first place team, second place, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. So her team scored 13th place in the competition. So last, which data display should Helena use if she wants to know what percent of the team scored higher than her team? So if you're changing the question that you're asking, that might change the data display that you would use to help answer that question. So because she wants to know the percent of the teams that scored higher than her team, a box plot would help with this. A box plot gives us first and third quartiles. It breaks the data down into quarters, into 25% ranges of the data. So a box plot would be a good way for her to answer that question.